Question for General Rutledge. You've talked a couple of times, General, about the need for civility in public life. You and a number of other attorneys general are the target of recommended sanctions by a nonprofit organization which accuses you and which asserts that you and others, in the context of the 2020 presidential election, spread what they term false assertions and frivolous allegations about the election. In light of that, and in light of the fact that none of the subsequent investigations have uncovered any serious malfeasance anyway in terms of the 2020 election, should you be sanctioned? Also, follow-up question, is Joe Biden the legitimate president of the United States?
Well, thank you, Steve, for that question. And the complaint against me and the other AGs is nothing more than a political attack. As we saw, it was a blanket. They used the same language, absolutely frivolous. We worked very closely with the attorneys at the AG's office before joining those efforts in December of 2020, because it was really a matter of making sure those state legislatures had the power that they needed in order to conduct the elections. With regard to the election, I said very clearly, and in February and even up until President Joe Biden was sworn into office, that he was elected president and that we swore him in on January 20th, 2021. There are many press statements. I encourage members of the media to look into that if they will. But what we need to look at, rather, when it comes to Joe Biden, it's not when he was elected, but rather what he's done since he's been president. And since he's been president, I've taken over 100 legal actions against this president for his illegal actions as president of the United States.
Mr. Gilbert.
I think this is a prime example of the culture that I was talking about earlier. It's not good enough to disagree with the Attorney General. You have to go after her personally. You have to attack her, and you have to use the courts to do it with. The courts should be impartial arbiters, not tools of destruction. And tools of destruction is what too many on both the left and the right, Democrats and Republicans, are looking for in politics these days. I was approached by 2 news media folks about my membership in an organization called Oath Keepers. The Anti-Defamation League had sought out news media to let them know that I and others had joined that organization. It is a good organization. I stand by what I did when I joined it. I have no problem with the organization. What they did, some individuals on January 6th, is between them and the Attorney General of the United States.
I have to end it there. Ms. Crowd.
Okay, thank you for the interesting question. I love talking about civility in politics. I think that's something that is missing. I think if anyone can get the Senate to sing Kumbaya, it would be me, but that is for the voters to decide. I find it really interesting that my opponent is really against frivolous political attacks, because as I've been watching, that is mostly what I have seen. I have seen her wake up and sue Joe Biden. I mean, I've heard you say that. I'd love to wake up and sue Joe Biden today over and over again. And it is a use of our taxpayer dollars. And I wish people were paying attention to that, because it's not helping our state. I'm Kelly Kraut. I'm running for lieutenant governor here in Arkansas. You know, there's a lot of talk about Joe Biden, who does already have a job president as he won the election. So thank you.
Ms. Kraut, thank you. General Rutledge, back to you for 30 seconds.
Well, as you can see, neither of my opponents are prepared for civility in politics. But let's go back to Joe Biden. I do wake up every morning and have to ask myself, as your Attorney General, how am I going to sue Joe Biden today? And we've done just that, whether it was over the cancellation of the Keystone Pipeline, now saddling Americans with $400 billion worth of student loan cancellation that adults took out on their own. All of these things we have done to protect Arkansans. And I'm going to keep doing that as your Attorney General and fight for you as your Lieutenant Governor.
Mr. Gilbert.
Thank you. First, civility. I think Leslie may have misunderstood what I was saying. I was actually defending her against that attack, which I consider ruthless and unnecessary. Secondly, I don't know how we can approach a problem that is this ingrained without hurting some feelings. kumbaya is not going to get us there. We're going to have to be honest with each other.
Ms. Crabb.
Clearly, I would not make the Senate sing kumbaya. I think civility in politics, we're talking about, not mudslinging, not dragging people, being kind, being respectful in the way that we communicate. I would never say anything about Attorney General Rutledge that I wouldn't say right here with her right next to me. And we do need to hold our leaders accountable. And so when we're spending taxpayer money on these frivolous lawsuits, it's not good for Arkansans. What would be good for Arkansans? Student loan forgiveness. That's going to allow us to spend money here in our state that will continue to boost our economy and help the average Arkansan.